This is Anthony with True Diamond Heart, continuing our video series, Wake Up and Live. What are the signs of unconsciousness, of asleepness, of not being awake? The signs, the way that we can know that we're not awake, the things that show us that we're asleep, are those negative thoughts and feelings, like impatience, anger, fear, worry, anxiety, depression, physical ill health, physical dis-ease. Now all of these things aren't solely and always and only a process of being asleep, but generally speaking, for most of us, most of the time, what we think others think about us. Now we don't know what they're thinking about us. We don't. We think what they think about us. We think we know what they're thinking about us. That is a sure sign. Any concern with that, taking any of that personally, is a sure sign of being asleep. Now that's common wisdom. What's uncommon wisdom, and much more deep, much more fundamental, is what you think about yourself and I think about myself. In the course of a very short time, you'll see that you think you did something wonderful. I'm so great. I'm so terrible. I'm so bad. They thought good things. They thought bad things. I really pulled that off. Wow, I really bungled that. This is a sign of being asleep. We take our own inner voice, our own inner theater, what I think about myself, what I think they think about me, as being asleep, as personally. We take them personally. And these things are signs, sure signs of being asleep. Addictions are signs of being asleep. Now, blaming yourself for being asleep is a sign of sleep. Self-blame, self-aggrandizement. I'm so great. I'm so terrible. Either of those things, they're both signs of being asleep. To simply see what is, without it being who I think I am, and without it being subject to it bringing me up or down, being a victim of, being subject to circumstances. Oh, I won $20 in the lottery. Well, that makes me happy. Oh, well, I lost $20 in the lottery. That makes me sad. She was really nice to me. That makes me happy. She was really mean to me. That makes me sad. Up and down, up and down. Being at the mercy of circumstances is a sign of being asleep. Again, addictions. Any compulsive drive for food, compulsive drive for sex, compulsive drive for things, compulsive drive for attention, compulsive drive for money. Any of these things, sign of being asleep. Now we all want these things and to some extent need most or some of these things to a great extent, and some of them completely. We have to have some money to live, of course. But I have a friend who's drawn his survival needs, who's drawn what he thinks he needs very close to survival. He wants to play music. So as long as he can survive and play music, he's okay. And then there are people I know people that have tens of millions of dollars. And because they've drawn their needs so high, they're not at ease with what they have. They want more. That's a sign of being asleep. That's a sign of being asleep. Anytime we suffer, almost any time we suffer. Now, there are times when suffering is part of the awakening process. Suffering is a stage we go through. You break your arm and it hurts for a while. But chronic suffering is almost always a sign of being asleep. There's almost always a way to be at ease if we live in balance. To live in balance is to be awake. To be identified with any political, to be identified with any religious, to be identified with any race, any ethnic, any gender, anything. To be identified with those things beyond the way children are identified. The guy gets in the elevator and the kid says, "How come you have wheels on your chair?" Or the kid says, "How come your face is that color?" And it doesn't mean anything. It's an identification like this leaf is slightly larger than that leaf, which is slightly greener and more shiny. It's that kind of thing. And then we move on. But as adults, we don't judge that way. We identify things. We identify, well, I am, and then say your religion, or I am, say your ethnicity, or I am, say your family name, or I am, say your gender. And there's all these associations of good, bad, ugly, better, not as good. Comparison is a sign of being asleep. Anytime you compare yourself to others, anytime you identify yourself as in any way higher or lower based on what you like or don't like, on your history, on any characteristic about you, the awakening process is a process of becoming tolerant and becoming peaceful. We're going to get into it. We're still identifying the value of waking up, the last couple of videos, and now how to identify being asleep. The waking up process will create patience. Will just reveal patience. It will reveal tolerance. It will reveal beauty, creativity, joy, service, responsibility, truth, love. If you want to use the word God, it will reveal God. Stay with us. We're just beginning.